Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to be diving into Eastern Equine Encephalitis,
Oh, okay.
or EEE.
Yeah.
And it's a disease that you might not have heard of, but it's pretty fascinating because
Yeah.
it kind of shows how interconnected humans and animals and the environment really are.
Yeah.
We've got some excerpts from Section to guide us.
All right.
So let's dive in.
Yeah, this disease is kind of a hidden threat.
Yeah.
And you're right. The name does sound like something out of a Greek myth.
It really does.
Like
it does. But before we get too lost in mythology, let's start with the basics.
Sure.
What is E?
Well, E is caused by a virus,
Okay.
the Eastern Equine Encephalitis virus, or EEV. And it's a member of the Togaviridae family, which is basically a group of viruses with similar characteristics.
So it's like a
family tree for viruses.
family reunion, but for viruses.
Exactly.
Okay.
And some of those relatives can cause trouble.
Right.
And EEV is one of those troublemakers.
Okay.
So here's the interesting part. EE primarily affects birds,
Okay.
but it can spill over to humans and horses
Okay.
through the bite of infected mosquitoes.
Oh, so mosquitoes are like the party crashers here.
They are.
Spreading it around.
Yes.
So if I'm understanding this right, you can only get EE from a mosquito bite,
That's right.
not from another person or horse.
You can't catch it from another person or a horse, no.
Okay, good.
It's all about those pesky mosquitoes
Got it.
acting as the vector.
All right, so those backyard barbecues might be a little less fun if we're in an area where these mosquitoes are hanging around.
Right.
So where is this disease most common?
Well, EE is primarily found in the eastern United States,
Okay.
especially in states with humid, swampy areas.
Okay.
Think, Florida, Georgia, Massachusetts, Michigan.
Places mosquitoes love.
Basically, yeah, places mosquitoes love to call home.
All right, so if you live in a mosquito haven,
Yeah.
it's probably a good idea to be extra vigilant.
Right.
But how worried should we really be? How dangerous is this?
Well, that's where things get a little tricky.
Okay.
On the one hand, EE is relatively rare in humans.
Okay.
The average is only about 5 to 10 cases a year in the U.S.
Okay, so not super common.
No, not super common. But here's the catch.
Okay.
About 30% of those cases are fatal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So while it's not super common if you get it,
Yeah.
it can be really bad news.
It can be. Yeah, absolutely.
And even if you survive,
Yeah.
there's a high risk of long-term neurological problems.
There is, yeah.
Because the virus can cause encephalitis,
Right.
which is inflammation of the brain. So that can lead to...
All sorts of complications.
Yeah.
From cognitive issues to personality changes.
Really?
Huh?
Wow, that's scary.
Yeah.
That sounds like a gamble you don't want to take.
Right.
So knowing the symptoms is really important, right?
It is, yeah.
So what is the incubation period for this?
So the incubation period, meaning the time between getting bitten and showing symptoms, is 4 to 10 days.
So you might not know right away.
You might not know.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
So what are some things that we should be looking out for?
Well, early symptoms of EE often mimic the flu.
Okay.
Fever, chills, muscle aches, joint pain.
So you might just think you have summer cold or something.
Might? Yeah.
And just dismiss it.
Exactly.
But that's where the danger lies.
That's right, yeah. That's why awareness is so important. But if you have more severe cases,
Okay.
that's when the alarm bell should really start ringing.
So like what?
High fever, persistent headache, vomiting, disorientation, seizures.
Oh, gosh.
Those are all signs that the brain is becoming inflamed,
Okay.
and you need medical attention immediately.
So let's say someone's experiencing those flu-like symptoms, especially during mosquito season.
Yeah.
What should they do?
If you're experiencing those symptoms, don't hesitate.
Okay.
Go see a doctor right away,
Even if you think it's nothing.
even if you think it's nothing, because early diagnosis is key. Even though there's no specific cure for E.
So even though there's no cure, early medical attention can still make a difference.
It can, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. The treatment focuses on managing the symptoms
Okay.
and providing supportive care to help your body fight the virus.
So it's all about giving your body the best chance
Yes, exactly.
to recover.
Yeah,
But this really highlights how important prevention is.
it really does.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
What are some good ways to prevent mosquito bites?
Okay, well, first and foremost, use EPA-registered insect repellents.
Okay.
Look for ones that contain D, picaridin, or oil of lemon eucalyptus.
Now what?
DET, for example, works by interfering with the mosquito's receptors.
Okay.
essentially making it harder for them to find you.
Okay, so like throwing off their radar.
Yeah, throwing off their radar, exactly.
I like that.
Make yourself invisible to mosquitoes.
What about the citronella candles?
Citronella candles.
Do those actually work?
They might offer a slight deterrent, but I wouldn't rely on them as your primary defense.
Okay.
No.
What else?
Covering up with long sleeves and pants, especially at dawn and dusk, when mosquitoes are most active, is crucial.
Yeah, might not be the most fashionable look,
Right.
but it's better to be safe than sorry.
It is, yes, absolutely.
What else?
And don't forget to eliminate any standing water around your home.
Ah.
Those are mosquito breeding grounds.
Right.
Empty flower pots, clean your gutters, change the water in your bird baths regularly.
Good tip.
It's just simple steps that can make a big difference.
Now, I'm curious, our research mentioned fasting as a potential factor in E.
That's interesting.
Is there any evidence to support that?
Well, that's a question that often comes up.
Yeah.
While fasting has been studied for various health benefits,
Okay.
there's no scientific evidence to suggest that it can directly prevent or treat EE.
Okay, so while it might be good for other things, it's not a magic bullet against this virus.
It's not a magic bullet, no.
Got it. It's always best to stick with the proven prevention methods.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
We've learned that E is a rare but serious disease.
Yeah.
Spread by mosquitoes,
Right.
primarily affecting birds but posing a potential threat to humans and horses.
That's right.
There's no cure, but early detection and supportive care can improve outcomes.
It can.
And most importantly, prevention is key.
Absolutely.
Now, I thought this was really interesting.
Right.
That while EE can be deadly to certain bird species,
Yeah.
others seem to be completely unaffected.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
They can carry the virus without showing any symptoms.
So they're like silent carriers.
Silent carriers, yeah.
Yeah.
Unknowingly spreading the virus.
That makes me wonder if understanding why some birds are resistant could help us find better ways to protect humans.
That's a great question. And that's something that we'll be exploring further in the next part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned, everyone.
Yes.
We'll be right back to continue our exploration of E.
All right. Welcome back to our deep dive into Eastern equine encephalitis.
All right, so before the break, we were talking about how some birds can carry the EE virus, but they don't show any symptoms.
Yeah, they're like these silent carriers.
Right? Silent carriers.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Makes you wonder what makes these birds resistant.
All right.
Like, what is it about them?
Yeah, it's like they have some secret weapon
Yeah, like a secret weapon.
that we just haven't figured out yet.
Exactly.
And I mean, if we could unlock that mystery,
Yeah.
that could have huge implications
Oh,
for
absolutely.
human health. Yeah. So, I mean, instead of just focusing on avoiding mosquitoes, we could learn how to actually fight the virus itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine if we could develop a treatment or even a vaccine
Yeah.
based on what we learned from these birds.
Right.
It'd be incredible.
It would be a total game changer.
Total game changer. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I love about this deep dive. It's not just about understanding the problem. It's like looking for the solutions.
Absolutely. And, researchers are actively investigating this.
Okay.
Looking at these birds, they're looking at their genetic variations, immune responses, all sorts of factors.
That could contribute to their resistance.
Yeah, it's like a puzzle.
Right.
It really is. And every new discovery
Yeah.
brings us closer to potential breakthroughs.
That's great. And, we've talked a lot about prevention,
Yeah.
but you mentioned earlier there's no specific cure
Right.
for E in humans.
For humans, no.
So, I mean, does that mean that there's no hope
Not at all.
if you do get infected?
No, while supportive care is kind of the mainstay of treatment right now,
Yeah.
there's promising areas of research
Yeah.
that could lead to more effective treatments in the future.
So what's on the horizon?
What's on the horizon?
Yeah, what kind of research is giving you hope?
Well, one area that scientists are really excited about is the development of antiviral drugs, specifically designed to target the E virus.
So instead of just managing the symptoms, we could attack the virus head on.
Exactly. Precisely.
I mean, that would be amazing
It would.
if we can develop something like that.
It would be a significant step forward.
Yeah, a fighting chance.
A fighting chance, yeah.
Against this virus.
Exactly. And another promising area of research is exploring the possibility of a vaccine for humans.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we already have a vaccine for horses,
All right.
which has proven to be very effective.
Mm-hmm. But I imagine creating a vaccine for humans is a much bigger challenge.
It is. It's a much more complex process.
Yeah.
But the potential benefits are enormous.
Yeah.
A vaccine could be the ultimate form of protection
Right.
and could potentially eradicate E altogether.
That's amazing.
It is, yeah.
So there's no instant solution right now.
Right.
But it sounds like there's hope for the future.
There is, yeah, absolutely. Science is making great strides in understanding EE and developing new ways to combat it. And in the meantime, we have the power to protect ourselves.
Right.
By taking those preventative measures we discussed.
By taking those steps.
Yes, exactly.
It's interesting, how much of this comes down to personal responsibility.
It does, yeah.
We can't just wait for the scientists to come up with a cure or a vaccine.
We can't. We have to do our part.
We have to do our part to prevent those mosquito bites.
Absolutely. And that's such an important point.
Yeah.
You're taking ownership of your health.
Right.
And making those informed choices.
You've been given the knowledge and the tools to protect ourselves.
And it's up to us to use them.
It's up to us. Now, one question that I had is about the possibility of transmission through other means.
Yeah.
Like, blood transfusions, organ transplants.
Right.
Is there any risk of getting E that way?
That's a great question, and one that researchers have looked into.
Okay.
And thankfully, based on the current understanding of the EE virus, transmission through blood transfusions or organ transplants is considered very unlikely.
Okay, good.
Yes, the virus doesn't seem to replicate very efficiently in human blood.
Okay.
Or organs outside the nervous system.
So the risk of transmission that way is really low.
Extremely low, yeah.
That's good to know. That's reassuring.
It is, yeah.
So it seems like the main focus really does need to be on those mosquitoes.
It does. Mosquito control and personal protection.
They're super important.
They're paramount.
They are. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
In our deep dive so far. But I want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay.
As we move into the final part of our discussion.
Right.
What's one key takeaway?
One key takeaway.
You'd like to emphasize.
It might sound obvious.
Okay.
But I think it's important to reiterate that even though EE is a serious disease, it is preventable.
It is preventable.
By being aware of the risks, taking precautions, and seeking medical attention when needed. You can really reduce your chances of getting infected.
Knowledge is power.
It is.
And in this case, it can save lives.
Well said.
So as we head into the last part of our deep dive, we'd love to hear from you.
We would, our listeners.
What's resonating with you the most about E?
What questions are still in your mind?
Share your thoughts with us.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back for the final part.
The final part.
Of our deep dive.
Into Eastern equine encephalitis.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on quite a journey exploring this world of Eastern equine encephalitis.
We have. It's been fascinating, hasn't it?
It really has. And I think, what's been most striking for me is how much we still don't know about it.
Yeah, there's still so much to learn.
Yeah, it's like every time we answer one question, 2 more pop up.
Right, it's like we've uncovered more questions than answers.
Exactly. And it makes you realize just how complex these natural systems are.
They really are. And speaking of complex systems, we've talked a lot about individual prevention.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to kind of zoom out a little bit.
Okay.
And consider the role of public health.
Right. Yeah, we can't just rely on individuals.
We can count precautions.
Right. There needs to be a larger effort.
Right.
To manage the spread of this virus.
So what does that look like? What kind of strategies do public health officials use to combat EE?
Well, think of it as a 3-pronged approach. Surveillance, mosquito control, and public education.
Okay, so let's break that down. What does surveillance involve?
Well, surveillance is all about keeping an eye on the situation.
Okay.
Monitoring mosquito populations, tracking bird deaths, investigating any suspected cases in humans or animals.
So it's like detective work.
It is, yeah, like disease detectives.
Right, so they're gathering data.
They are.
To try and identify potential hotspots and track the spread.
Exactly, and once they have that information, they can start taking steps to prevent further spread. And that's where the mosquito control comes in.
That's right, yeah. So they might use things like spraying insecticides or introducing mosquito-eating fish into bodies of water.
Interesting.
Yeah, and of course, all those individual actions.
Right, eliminating standing water.
Exactly, all that plays a part.
Using insect repellent.
Absolutely.
And then the third piece of the puzzle is public education.
That's right. Making sure people understand the risks, how it's transmitted, and most importantly, how to protect themselves.
So it's like a multi-level strategy.
It is, yeah, from individual actions to community-wide interventions.
Right, and they're constantly monitoring.
They are. It's an ongoing process.
And educating the public.
Yes.
But they're also ready to act.
If an outbreak occurs.
Yes, right.
Absolutely.
It's pretty amazing to think about all the work that goes on behind the scenes to keep us safe.
It really is. And, you know, even with all those public health measures in place,
Yeah,
individual actions still matter.
they do.
A lot.
We all have a role to play. Well, this has been a really eye-opening deep dive into...
Eastern equine encephalitis.
It just reminds us that we're all connected.
We are.
You know, to each other, to animals, to the environment.
It's all interconnected.
It is, and it's really a testament to the power of knowledge and research and working together to overcome these challenges.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into E,
Yep.
we hope you walk away feeling informed and empowered.
Absolutely.
And maybe even a little bit inspired to learn more
Always keep learning.
about this amazing world around us.
It's fascinating.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep.
And stay curious.